the recent COVID-19 pandemic has posed such a big challenge to many countries. And thanks to the technology, which brought us through this difficult time and help us to adapt into the new normal. So Jeanette, can you please share with us what are the trends that from this pandemic and post-COVID-19 pandemic from the technology point of view?
So a lot of what's happening I'm going to talk about comes from common sense, comes from articles and research that's been done by companies, consulting companies and others. And so I put some of it together. Yeah. But we all know that tech was already of increasing importance BC, before COVID. But after COVID, since COVID, there has been an uneven growth in ICT itself. If you think about it, how many of us actually heard of Zoom before COVID? Not many. How many of us knew of Slack? How many of us knew about Microsoft Teams? And all these came on board, all these collaboration platforms, the audio conferencing calls, the video platforms, all came on board. What does this mean? It means that jobs like software development, cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure engineers, all these jobs suddenly became really, really hot. This is important. What happened? What else happened? As we were all doing this video conferencing and everything else, we all realized, well, we need headphones, we need routers, we need monitors, we need keyboards. And all these hardware were in high demand, but not all the other devices. It was a very select group of hardware.
Okay.
And all this means that hardware providers, hardware engineers have to be concentrated in these few areas. What else happened? COVID-19, nobody is buying, or very few people are buying. What do companies do? They cut spending. IT spend drops, which means that IT salespeople, support personnel, IT support, the demand for them also dropped. And this has impacts on the jobs that come downstream. What else happened? All of us started shopping online. We started watching Netflix and other movies and Apple TV and whatever else online. We started reading a lot more online. I know that I fully maximize my NLB online library every single day. We do exercise online. We get delivery services online. We even gaming, movies. All this is happening online. What does that mean? It means that software development, the data analytics people, the cyber security people, the cloud people, even down to the internet providers, whether hardware or software, because with everybody going online and such high consumption, that impacts our internet performance speeds. What else has happened? Well, suddenly there's this trace together. You have things like all these big data and apps and AI sensors, the artificial intelligence sensors, things like the Internet of Things. All these words came up a lot. And it's about the integration of all these new skills and competencies to work together on a project. It's not about being a pure specialist anymore. It's also about being able to work together in a team. What opportunities came out from COVID? And this is important for me personally, because everybody talks about COVID and says, oh my God, this was hell on earth. No, there was a lot of opportunities during this period. Not only in terms of gaming, in terms of video meetings, but think about the online e-commerce platforms. I still remember when I went to Vietnam to set up the bank, I was shocked that the fishmonger in my market had an e-commerce store. And I was thinking, we don't have that in Singapore. Doesn't happen in Singapore, but now it does.
That was how advanced some of the emerging markets, they are outperforming.
Absolutely, and this is wonderful because you now have such a wide range of food that's available, of things that are available. And you can buy direct from warehouses. You could go straight to the distributor. You don't have to go through the middleman. It's changing that streaming a little bit. You have opportunities in big data and AI. Everybody's talking about big data and AI. Things like, trace together, self-help, temperature sensors, check-in, check-outs. All these things work. And you are in the education line. You know
Yep.
What else boomed? Virtual learning.
Yep.
Everybody's going online.
Online.
All virtual learning.
Yes.
All the virtual
All our
learning.
programs are online.
Programs are online. People
Yep.
are struggling to put it online.
Yep.
Curriculum designers
Design.
are really going crazy trying to put it all together. You know, even the people who are taking the videos, who are doing all these, it's all happening online. That is booming. What else is online? COVID-19 is an illness. Who's going to go to the doctor? That went online.
Yeah. Healthcare.
Online healthcare, that's booming as well. You know, things like, even in manufacturing, if you can't put people together, what do? You build robots. That's booming.
Contactless.
Yes. There are jobs out there, there's opportunities out there for people with the skills. And if you don't, you can use those skills. I mean, let me tell a little story.
Please do.
So, what happened some time ago is that when you wanted to build a website, you had to learn different languages, programming languages, you do the coding, hard coding, then you're doing, you know, if then, whatever. But nowadays, you can use things like Adobe Page Mills.
Yep.
You don't really need to write the code anymore. Okay, it may not be elegant, it might not work 100%. You might still have few bugs, but it's a code and it works.
Yep,
But you
it
didn't have to
works.
write it.
Yep.
So there are, as things like this happen, as all these apps and all these assistants come online, as somebody in the industry, you have to constantly upskill, learn more, get better.
Yep.
Otherwise, you get left behind.
I heard that word a few times, upskill or perhaps reskill or keep learning. So I guess that's an important spirit you have to possess in the first place. Yeah. So that brings another question from me, that what are the pathways, like if a person are so encouraged by coming into the tech industry, and what are the ways? Do they take up a course? Do they go to universities to take up a degree program? What should they do? What could be the immediate action?
She is purposely pressing on all my hot buttons here. The reason is this. I think that when it comes to skills and getting into ICT jobs, if you haven't graduated, there are lots of IT programs out there. There are even programs like the TESA, which is the Tech Skills Accelerator program. It's a Skills Future Initiative by IMDA. That program has something called Earn and Learn. You could earn as you are learning. You're paid for it. Why not? It's a great opportunity. If you're a fresh graduate, you have an ICT background, wonderful. Everybody's looking for you. There's loads of jobs, but you need the experience. How do you get the experience? There's always the gig economy. There's volunteering. If you volunteer to help to build and do digital work, you know, for NGOs and for others. There's always internships. There are many ways of getting that hands-on experience. And I'll tell you what my engineers have told me informally, is that it's really important to have that hands-on practice. It's not so much about which school you studied in, that's important as well, but you know, somewhere further down the line. It's really about the hands-on experience. What do you know? How can you do it? Can you do it? That's important. If you are an engineering graduate, you don't have an ICT experience, but you want to get into ICT. Well, there are a lot of things that's happening right now because of COVID. Singapore has come up with something called the SG United traineeships. Recently, there was something written in the papers about 35,000 jobs offered by more than 6,000 companies.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a huge number of jobs. It's for entry level, but it's also for mid-career people who want to get into this area. And it includes something like 3 months, I believe, of online learning that's paid for by the government. And then another 6 months, 9 months of on the job with a company. That gives you that hands-on experience with the skills development that you need. Beautiful combination of the two. Plus, you get a monthly salary. What could be better than that?
Great. I'm so encouraged, and I'm glad to hear that there are such a big gap to fill, and there are very rosy future of this area for people who are trying to switch from another industry to the tech industry. So are you encouraged as well? And I think our Jeanette has helped to answer the main concern of today's topic, that how do the outsiders switch into this tech industry?
Maybe if I could just elaborate a little bit more. One of the things that I'm commonly asked is, how do I know what skills are needed to get into that job? Well, the government has made it easy as well here. So you look into things like the skills inventory that has been created by Careers Tomorrow. There's the skills progression and profiling accelerator initiative by the Singapore Computer Society. You have the NICF, the National ICT Framework. There are all these different things out there that tell you what skills are required. And if you're like me and very data-driven and a bit yasu, you start looking into the papers, you start looking into the job ads. What are they asking for?
That's a very good starting point. Yeah, knowing the gap and fill it.
And then there's always other things like, networking. If you don't network, you don't know people out there. If you don't volunteer, you put yourself out there with people. You go into project work, contract work. Yeah. If you are somebody who already has ICT knowledge, whether it's in a tangential area, or if you're even in that area, think about mentoring those who are younger than you. I have a program in GovTech called Technical Mentoring. And it's about being a mentor to project groups, mentoring them on difficult technical projects. Where do these mentors come from? They are Singaporeans, but from all over the world, including Silicon Valley.
Okay, so that mechanism is already there, and you just need to adapt into it and leverage on that.
Yes, and for some companies, it's about time to build this. We may have built ours, but we are still expanding the scheme. There are many other examples out there which just do a simple search online, and you have all these opportunities in front of you.
Wow, this again sounds very enlightening.